Hey, now welcome back. It's Bergie and Booker. He's Big Ten Bergie. I'm just little old Booker, and I'm healing up. Bergie, you and I have talked a lot about sports and different sports, a variety of sports. But in every sport that you play, whether it's an individual or a team sport, you have to find the line between playing hurt or playing injured. And I don't care what you say. There's athletes all over the world that have played injured. Playing hurt means that your elbow's bothering you, and it's going to hurt when you reach out. You make the play anyway because you're part of winning. I played injured last week. I had the good fortune of doing the Joppatown at Edgewood game, and if you go back and listen to that on the Ravens YouTube channel, you will hear a man with zero voice do play-by-play. And I'll tell you what, it was Padre Ishmael and I doing the game, and it was super fun, but I was squeaky at best. So for those of you who are out there, I apologize for the voice, but by golly, I was playing injured.
Yeah, but that's the other thing about pain, injured or hurt, pain and injury. Your 75% book may be better than some other guys 100%.
I appreciate that. I tell you what, I was at 25%.
There were many a game. People were like, Roethlisberger's out there. He may be 50%. And other guys were like, yeah, but the next two guys are 100%. Ain't Roethlisberger's 50%. Get him out there. I mean,
yep.
Your 25% was better than a lot of other people's 100% books. So good for you.
It was tough. Let's get into the show. Maryland, Ohio State. Is this a trap game for Ohio State?
So here's the deal. My prediction is Maryland will go 9-3. I've said it all year.
Yep.
With losses to Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan, because I don't think they're there yet. That's a huge, incredible progression over they've gotten a game better every year. They're doing better. A lot of that is because we finally have a quarterback who is healthy, knock on wood. We've had such a bad string of injuries especially at the quarterback position. Loxley's getting players in there. They're doing well. We have the offensive weapons to play with anybody. I don't know if we can stop up front Ohio State, Penn State, or Michigan yet. We have D-backs. We have skill guys. Up front, we're still not there. But if we're going to beat any of the three, I think it's Ohio State. And I told somebody yesterday that Maryland would probably, now this is on Monday, so I said don't take it to the bank yet, but Maryland would probably cover the 19.5 and the 55 and be over 55.5. The 55.5 has already jumped up to 58.5. So I wasn't the only one who thought that. The Sharks thought that as well. That was a little low. I'm not going to make a prediction yet till like Thursday or Friday because I jumped on that Kansas team without knowing that their starting quarterback did not play. I need to know if Marvin Harrison Jr.'s son's playing because he's been banged up. It's I don't know if it's only a trap game for Ohio State if they were playing Michigan next week, and they're not playing Michigan next week. So
right. Agreed. Fair. That's some good analysis. How about, and I like to call it the Red River Shootout. They, for some reason, have gravitated towards the Red River rivalry. It's really the Red River Shootout. It's Oklahoma, Texas. It's going to be interesting. It's and again, the Maryland game you were just talking about, if that's at Maryland, I give them such a better chance of finding a way. But it's at Ohio State.
There's half less people in the stands if it's at Maryland. And maybe half, and then you split that in like another half for Ohio State fans. So certainly,
Oklahoma, Texas.
It's at Oklahoma, and
I thought it was at Texas.
No, it's Texas at Oklahoma, I think.
Okay, we'll have to make sure we get that straight because if it's at Texas, there's no way they lose. But if it's at Oklahoma, I'll take Oklahoma to win the game outright.
Well, they're 12th, Texas is 3rd. Oklahoma's only getting 6.5 points. I'll look at that. I like Steve Sarkisian. You know, I've liked him before. I didn't hold it against him when he liked to booze. I don't hold it against him now that he doesn't. But I think he knows what he's doing. I think he relates to the kids well, and you know he's finally got. I mean, they got a quarterback. They could do good, really good things this year at Texas. I don't think Oklahoma. They've lost, you know, Lincoln Riley and all these other coaches and all that stuff. So, but it's a rivalry game, and we'll see. It's nice that game matters again. When's the last time that game mattered? Either Oklahoma was good and Texas sucked, or Texas was good and Oklahoma sucked. So, you know, they're both in the top 12. That's a big game.
That is a huge one. You're right.
Kentucky, Georgia, you know, it's number 20 Kentucky against Georgia, obviously number 1, who doesn't look like the Georgia of the last couple of years.
Sure.
They can't run the ball as well as they have been able to. And I
know our friend Dean Lambert will be rooting for Kentucky. He played football at Kentucky. He's a great athlete. But I think Georgia may have gotten their wake-up call. We'll see.
So
Georgia, every now and then.
Georgia's interesting because think about this. Year in and year out, I mean, the whole Eagles defensive line went to Georgia. They keep having guys leave early, and at some point, and get drafted very highly. At some point, that catches up to you. Like, damn it, this guy was supposed to be slotted for 2 more years, or this guy was supposed to be slotted here. I think they're having a rebounding year, which is, you know, they're still number 1 in the country, but I think they're rebounding from you know, some issues with guys leaving early. They're not running the ball the way they have been before, and their defense does not look as mean and nasty as it has been in the past.
And I got great news for our viewers. Guess what starts this week, according to Joe Bergstrom? The NFL season.
Week 5. Officially, we are in the NFL season. We are officially in the NFL season. So that's a question I got for you. Who's real and who's BS?
Well, I can tell you right now, if the NFL season starts at week 5, like my friend Bergie likes to say, the Bears will not play this season. The Panthers will not play this season because they have proved themselves to be inept, and that's their problem, not mine. The Raiders, I think, are a squeaky 1-3. Vikings, squeaky. Jets done. Cardinals done. Patriots. That's an interesting. It's a tough little animal because you have Bill Belichick, but they stink, and they just lost a couple guys to injury.
So I think you got 8 teams at 1-3 and 2 at 0-4.
And the Giants and Bengals.
And I think the Giants. So I kind of flip-flopped this weekend. Like, Wilson looked good for the Jets, and he looked like the guy that people talked about. And he's still young, and I'm not going to go nuts because he had 1 good game, but he stood in there and he threw some balls, and he looked good. Daniel Jones has gotten progressively worse, and I think Daniel Jones has way more of the natural talents and abilities that you are looking for in an NFL quarterback. I think he needs to go. I think he needs to go somewhere and get rebooted with one of these quarterback whisperers. And you know where he should go? He should go up to New England and let Bill O'Brien figure his ass out. And I think Mac Jones needs a new spot too. I think the guy who followed Brady isn't working. And I think of those teams. Think about this: the Bears quarterback stinks. The Panthers quarterback is a rookie and got hurt, so that's hurting them.
Yep.
The Raiders have a new quarterback, and for some reason haven't been able to get Josh Jacobs moving yet. You got to believe that's going to change. I think they can get 8 of those teams. Somebody's going to get a couple more, get back on right the ship. The Vikings have Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson and have 1 win. That makes no sense. Cardinals, I think they're done. I don't like their quarterback anymore.
Yep, they're fried.
Broncos, I think the Broncos, I don't think it matters. I think he's just going to say, this is my throwaway year. I'm going to figure out who I'm keeping he's going to pull a D on it. I think his whole roster is going to be different next year. I think he's going to keep 10 or 12 guys, maybe. And
I might disagree with you there. I think that Sean Payton, it's taken him a little while to figure it out. They gutted out a nice win against an okay team. They were down 28-14 in that game. Obviously, I have a soft spot for Russell Wilson.
Right. No, I get it.
I think it's going to be an interesting remainder of the Broncos season. That being said, what do you think of the Cincinnati Bengals and cigar smoking Joe Burrow?
So obviously he's hurt, and he's banged up, and they don't look good.
No, they don't.
They don't look good. The hype might have gotten to him. I don't know. I don't know the extent of the injuries, but I'm not going to rule them out yet because the Steelers have no offense, and the Ravens haven't played against anybody who's any good. Yes, they looked good last week, but the Browns aren't very good, and the Browns are even worse, without Deshaun Watson, obviously. Speaking of pain and injury, Deshaun Watson, he sat out last week, right?
Yes, he was a little tense.
He was a little tense. He didn't know how to relieve stress or relax.
Yeah. And that was not a happy ending for the Texans in any way, shape, or form.
The Browns, you mean? Yeah, no happy ending for the Browns.
For the Browns, sorry.
Yeah.
He may have been back in Texas trying to see if he. The jokes there are too funny. There's a lot of meaningless games this weekend in the NFL. It'll be interesting. The Dolphins got their noses, for lack of a better word, they got their noses kicked in. So are they going to rebound from that?
And that's what makes the NFL crazy. Everybody and their brother who does not know anything, and this is why people make so much money off of losers gambling. Everybody and their brother saw the Dolphins game the week before, was like, oh my God, the Dolphins are great. They're going to go in, and they found out a way, and Buffalo won't be able to deal with that speed. And guess what? Buffalo found a way to deal with speed, and all of a sudden they are hitting Stephon Diggs and everybody and doing very well. And Broncos had 70 scored on the week before, and obviously Sean Payton and the team and the players slept in the clubhouse for about 6 nights and figured shit out, and they got stuff done. That's what the NFL is all about. You're not. I hate to say it because I think Joe Paterno, and all these other guys used to say it all the time, but you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. And the NFL, they're the epitome of that statement. You're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are.
Agree with that 100%. When you're never as good as you think you are when you win. Ravens Steelers, that is the game at 1:00 next week. And that is, it's in Pittsburgh, which gives them a little leg up. Pittsburgh's coming off a couple good weeks, couple bad weeks. Ravens obviously had their way with the mighty Cleveland Browns. So where are you on? I'm looking forward to your picks. You'll probably put them out on Thursday or Friday. It's an interesting conundrum for the Ravens to have to go up there. Obviously, they have to. I'm not saying this, they shouldn't have to, but it's an interesting time for in what Bergie calls week 1 of the NFL season. They're headed up to Pittsburgh.
And, I have what's the extent of the injury to the Steelers quarterback? And, you can't talk about the Steelers without wondering, is Matt Canada even going to be around? I mean, it's week 1, week 5. And the Steelers offense is awful again this year. And, I'm a Tomlin fan, but the Steelers deserve more than, okay, we didn't have a losing season again under Mike Tomlin, because 8-8 isn't going to cut it with the offense. Matt Canada might need to be shipped up to the Canadian Football League to learn how to generate some offense.
Question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, without knowing what the deal is with the Steelers offense, I got no idea. I can tell you this. It's going to be a Ravens-Steelers game. People are going to get hit, and the Ravens are going to have a tough time against the Steelers defense regardless. And they're going to do a great job defensively. I just don't know if the Steelers can score enough points. And that's kind of sad to say.
17-13. I don't know who, and you know who wins the 17-13?
Yeah, 17.
The team with 17 wins that game every time. I'm hoping it's the Ravens because I do have a friend of mine who's involved with them. The question for me and for our viewers is this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin likes to wear those aviators.
Right.
True or false? True or false? Mike Tomlin played the character Hollywood in the original Top Gun movie. He wears the aviators like when he wakes up in the morning. I think he sleeps in them, which I think is kind of cool. I'm not making fun. I'm saying it's kind of cool. But did he play Hollywood, and has his quarterback ever come off the field and has he yelled at him, "Why didn't you take the shot, man? We had the shot. You know we had the shot." And his quarterback turned to him and say, "I will take the shot when I'm goddamn good and ready." He totally looks like he's right out of Top Gun.
He does. And, you know, the people that are calling for his head, which I think are dumb, but the people that are calling for his head, he'll have a job tomorrow. He's one of those guys. He'll have a job tomorrow. And I mean, people will fire their current coach to hire him. So he's got to figure out, and he always does, he's got to figure out what the hell to do with the offense. And, but, if anybody in the NFL is an accountability guy, it's Tomlin. I really believe that. Hollywood. And the Steelers have been, and I'm not, there's a handful of great coaches in the NFL. He's one of them. They'll figure it out, but they gotta get healthy as well. I think fans are getting a little, for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they expect a little bit more.
It's interesting because I had a radio show in Baltimore when Andy Reid's time in Philadelphia was coming to an end. And it was coming to an end. And I literally said on the air, Andy Reid needs to be released from the Eagles. And he needs to drive from the Eagles facility home. And he will have another head coaching job before he puts his car in park.
Yeah. And
I think Mike Tomlin's the same guy. I think that if Mike Tomlin gets fired, which, obviously it hasn't happened yet, but if Mike Tomlin were to get fired and he goes to drive home, he will have another head coaching job before he puts his car in park.
Yes.
And happily.
Oh, yeah. And his only downfall right now might be that he hasn't gotten rid of some guys. Some guys have lingered on his staff, maybe shouldn't have lingered on his staff throughout the years. But the Eagles are 4-0. What do you think the Eagles can actually do this year?
I think they can start next week by going 1-0, and that'll add and make it 5. That's all. And when Russ Wilson got, I paid a lot of attention to his career for a ton of reasons. And all you got to do is go 1-0 every week. And the Eagles really should have lost. They had plenty of opportunities to lose that game to the Washington football team. And somehow, some way, they squeak it out. I think that might have been their wake-up call. Or Washington exposed some of their weaknesses. Time will tell. But I think the Eagles might be as good as the 3-1 Dallas Cowboys, as good as the undefeated 49ers. I think that we're going to go back to the 80s and early 90s when the NFC Championship game might be the Super Bowl. Because a lot of the AFC teams have proven that they have weak areas and one injury. And obviously we still have 12 weeks left in the season. So one injury, and if the Eagles get it, they're done. You lose a key guy and you're out. That's the NFL is a week-to-week league, and it's a star. You keep your stars healthy.
So I think that the AFC obviously is stacked, but they're going to eat their yellow. I mean, who? Quarterbacks. They got way better teams. The AFC.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. The NFC. I'll take the 40. Right now, if I had to pick a Super Bowl champion, I'd probably take the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, in the NFC, but who is going to play them and who can beat them, as opposed to the AFC, where you have right now, obviously the Chiefs, you have the Bills, you have the Ravens, you have, I mean, you have, there's somebody, the quarterbacks, San Diego Chargers. I mean, you've got more quarterbacks in the AFC that are so freaking good. I mean, the Dolphins, I mean, you can go on and on and on. The NFC has the 49ers and the Eagles, and I'll never believe the Cowboys are any good until they're actually 2 games into the playoffs. I just won't. Okay. I don't think Dak Prescott can get it done. I really don't. I do think Micah Parsons is the best football player in the NFL today. I think our kids asked me the other day, who's the best player in the NFL? I said, football players? I said, Micah Parsons. I don't know who's.
I'll tell you what, I'll take Lamar Jackson. If obviously, if Micah Parsons gets hurt, then you're going to lose that bet. And if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, I'm going to lose the bet. That's one of the great things about arguing about NFL, and it's another reason why NFL drives the bus. Here we are talking for minutes and minutes and minutes about week 5 of the NFL, and we covered the Major League Baseball playoffs in 3.5 minutes. Yeah. So it's NFL drives the bus when it comes to eyeballs and money on the line for bettors and TV viewers. I mean, in April, they couldn't stop talking about Aaron Rodgers going to the New York Jets.
I will tell you one thing. What I would not mind people stop talking about is Travis Kelce. I'm over.
Wait, you mean Taylor Swift?
No, I'm tired of seeing Travis Kelce. Okay,
he is a good player.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's on every goddamn commercial there is now. He's on every commercial there is, and it's too much. I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs, and I'm tired of seeing Kelce on every commercial. I like their I like their podcast, and I like Jason Kelce, and I think Travis Kelce is an awesome player. And it's one thing when the media and your game and everybody's talking about you because you're awesome. It's another thing to be on every single commercial. I mean, the guy is pitching everything that there is. Oh, yeah. He's pitching the goddamn COVID shot, for Christ's sake. He's on a Pfizer commercial. The best thing about it is I know people get mad about it that are freaks out there about this stuff. But my buddy sent me that picture with Travis Kelce. He's got the Band-Aid on, and it's in his commercial for the COVID shot. And it says, dating Taylor Swift for COVID shot. One way or the other, he's getting his heart broken.
Yeah, that's a true statement. It'll be interesting to see how these games evolve. We got the Sunday night game is a treat. For those of you who are not going to be watching baseball or doing other important things, Cowboys at Niners. I mean, that's a knockdown, drag out brawl. And it's going to come down to, the defenses. I think that's another, 20-17 game where the defensive score by one of the squads. That's going to be a thriller. I can't wait to see who you pick in that one.
That's one of those games that I believe it'll live up to the hype. But it reminds you and I, guys our age, or in that era, when that game was just an incredible game. When it was just, it was such a big game year in and year out. And before the players then switched to each other's teams and all that stuff. But that could be a good one. I'm glad it's a good, So last Sunday, I didn't watch a whole lot because the boys were playing in their state practice. They do 4 times in the fall up at Weber International. So I got home, and I've left at 7:30. I got home at like 4:30. I walk into the house. Jackie isn't talking to me. Darlene's not talking to me. Kaylee's down in her room. The boys were like, "Hey, how are you?" They're glued to the end of the Eagles Skins game. They were glued to it. I was like, "Hi, the good practice." And they both kind of gave me that. Yeah, we'll hear about that later. So that's how great that game was, because they don't really care about either of those teams. I think this Sunday night, I think this is going to be one of those ones where I'm going to be laying in bed and I'm going to have the clicker because I don't want to turn it off. I'll watch it till like there's 5 minutes left, and then I'll go in bed, and then we'll, we'll both do the whole, we're going to watch it, and then she'll fall asleep, and then I'm turning it off, and then I drop the damn remote, because I got two remotes, one for the TV, one for the, so that's what's going to happen this Sunday night.
I tell you what, it's a common problem for a lot of people in this world. It's a common problem.
Like, because you have the remote for YouTube TV and for all the other stuff, and then you got the remote for the TV, and it's just got fat fingers, and I'm doing all this stuff, and I drop it. It happens.
Yeah, that's all right. You get the big bottle of Viagra by the thing, and a bunch of ibuprofen here. You got the heating pad on your back. You got the heating thing for your tum-tum. Yeah, it all piles up. You got the eye. Do you wear an eye mask too?
No.
When you wear
no. Why would I wear an eye? When my wife's as pretty as Jackie is, I want to see it all the time, man. I don't wear an eye mask.
I want our viewers to see you come on the show with an eye mask on next time.
I would think Jackie should wear the eye mask. I'm the one sleeping next to her. She should wear the eye mask.
Yeah, I got Sweet Tea can fall asleep. And tell you what, you put golf on, and the Ryder Cup was just, congratulations to Europe. They won the Ryder Cup. I put golf on, and they'll show a person addressing an iron shot from the fairway. She's fast asleep before that ball comes to rest. She is fast asleep.
Story about the Ryder Cup. It just means more to the Euros.
Yeah.
We had 9 players not play a round of golf professionally for 5 weeks leading up to the Ryder Cup. How would you go to the World Series, the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, whatever the equivalent is in NASCAR, whatever the hell anything is, and not play your sport competitively for 5 weeks leading up to the big game? It makes no sense.
They were resting.
Yeah, they rested, and let's get into the battle. How DJ wasn't on the team. He certainly could have helped. I think, probably could have taken a couple of those live guys. They're used to team play.
It's interesting that the live guys, and especially like Luke Donald, like you saw the emotion come across him and how much it meant to him and all that stuff. He wasn't even supposed to be captain. It was supposed to be Henrik Stenson, who went to the live tour, and the Euros are like, not on our watch. So they put their foot in the ground, which, right or wrong, they did what they wanted to do, and they still won.
But here's the deal. They're like the SEC. It just means more, okay? Yeah. They're playing up until the Ryder Cup. They've had the Italian Open at that course the last 3 years in a row so that the pros can practice and play in that competitively the last 3 years. We don't in America, because the money's so damn good, and it's in all sports. We don't care enough about winning anymore. We don't care enough about the country. It used to be like that was a big deal for the country. And I'll start my rant. You know what the real problem is? We don't hate anybody anymore. Athletes don't hate the people they play against anymore. All right. Football guys exchange jerseys after every game. Team guys switch back and forth in the NBA. Everybody follows everybody on social media. And the Ryder Cup guys, the professional golfers now are all making stupid little videos with each other and on group chats with each other and, attending everybody's wedding. No one hates anybody anymore. So we go over there, we get our ass kicked, and America just kind of smiles and is like, oh, okay.
The only correction I would put into that is I feel like the Americans try to really care when it's on American soil. But that's obviously that formula does not work. You can't go over there and say, they care more. If they win, that's fine because it means so much to them. Half the guys are crying at the end because they won, which is actually the joy in sports. That means that something meant something to you. And the Americans seem to really try and turn it on every 4 years when it's at our place. When we host it, we try to care a lot. Obviously that formula is not working because we never win over there, and we only win half the time when it's here.
Yeah, it's hypocritical. It's like going to church on Easter and Christmas, and that's the only time to church.
And the other thing to keep in mind is the Americans did win the Ryder Cup, 40 out of 43 times for the first 50 times it was played. So we still own the Ryder Cup. It's just that recent times since the war on the shore at Kiowa Island. That's when it began to mean something again.
So we haven't won over there in what, 30 years?
Yeah. And it's like the America's Cup races. It didn't mean a thing to us until we lost. We won the America's Cup races. For those of you who are nautical, specifically speaking, nautical, we won the America's Cup for 100 years. And then we lost it. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, what's this America's Cup? We got to win it again. And everybody cared back when Dennis Conner had the zinc all over his face, trying to put it on just his lips.
Yeah, but what about I mean, you know, we didn't win the Olympics in basketball one time, and we said screw this, and then we had the dream team. Like, we're never going to lose it again. You know, it's like we got pissed off. Does nobody get pissed off that we go over to Europe and get our ass kicked? Or is it? I mean, I'm asking. I don't follow professional golf enough to know why we make the decisions we made, but I know enough that like Spieth and JT shouldn't have been on the team this year. I mean, they might be great guys and they're all buddy, and I get it, but I mean, they shouldn't have been on the team. And
Spieth did not play well at all.
But you know, it's just listen. We don't care enough about it. I don't care, but I don't care either. I didn't watch it. I saw some text messages. I saw some things. People are like, "Oh, we're getting our ass kicked. We can't putt. We can't do this." But I do know that it should be mandatory to play prior to the event if you're going to represent your country. You should just not be able to show up after 5 or 6 weeks off and just say, "I'm gonna turn it on." You know.
Yep. So let's summarize. Let's go Phillies. Let's go Terps. Terps got to find a way.
Terps got to find a way.
Stranger things have happened. Although it's in Ohio State, so I don't think it's. I don't know what. Let's go Eagles. Let's go Ravens.
I can't support the Ravens win, but
sure you can. They're only playing the Steelers. What do you care about the Steelers other than Mike Tomlin playing Hollywood in Top Gun 1?
My wife, our daughter, they're all huge Steelers fans.
Okay. I'll have to come over there and have it out with them.
I was born in Pittsburgh, so Steelers were good when I was younger. So yeah, Maryland beats Ohio State. That will catapult Mike Locksley up for Coach of the Year in the Big Ten. He'll probably, if they finish 9-3, he'll get it because they won't give it to Harbaugh, even if they're undefeated, for the sheer fact that he got suspended for 4 games. And Ryan Day's not going to get it because, you know, he's a big baby that dyes his cake.
The bad news is if Maryland beats a couple of those teams, he's gone.
No, he's not going anywhere. He's from there. I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to go to Alabama? I don't think they're offering him the job. Well, I don't know what's bigger for him. I mean, honestly, they'll come up for it. He does all this stuff about the DMV. I think the one biggest plus about Locksley is I think this is his destination job. He's from the area. They didn't want him. He went and played at Towson. I think this, you know, coaches are full of shit about a lot of things. I think this was his destination job. He's been the head coach there 3 times now, interim twice, and the firings and all this stuff. I think he wants to build something, and I think he's honest about, you know, surrounding the DMV. My question is, you know, whether or not they can stay with him defensively, and if we can not make a stupid mistake at the end, and if we are to win, then do we have a big letdown? Because that happens to us a lot too. We have the letdown. Are they mentally tough enough to win this game? We'll see. I'd love to see it. I don't like Ohio State anyway. I like to see them lose to everybody.
Well, we'll see what happens. He's Bergie, I'm Booker. We do pretty well. Cheers.